Hi there guys and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Olympus 530. These are some basic walkthrough videos on how to set up and operate your caravan as if you were coming on or site. So, starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with black lever, which you have to have pulled up like so. Now occasionally those won't stand upright. You just need to get a bit of WD-40 down here. Then wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar. It will snap down that handle, push up the red button and expose a green ring. You have a gas strut handbrake. Now to release you have to press in on the button and push down. Now when you go to engage it, you just simply pull it back. You'll hear a first initial click, then a second. Just make sure you pull it all the way back, as the first click is just to say that it's on to a point, so you just don't want it to roll back. You then have your jockey wheel here, which is used to level the caravan, and this little handle on the side to pull it up. Now with regards to this, the jockey wheel does sit on the outside. Then have 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation on your tow vehicle, make sure to get yourself an adapter. You may lose functions such as the Alco ATC from that though. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you have inserts for your legs. Now the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they're simply used for stabilisation. Now we're using test equipment today here, so first up, behind the axle we have your battery locker. This example does have a leisure battery fitted, connects onto the top using 2 terminals which you can tighten using a 12 or 13mm spanner. You then have your mains cable which plugs in nice and easy, and then a little hole where you can feed it through so no one's going to pull it out. Coming around to the other side, we're not putting water through today as it has been fully drained off. You've got an access point so that you can get inside the van just here. This here is your flue. Now you have to remove this plastic cap, take it off fully and just rest it onto the side. The flue allows clean air to come in when operating the boiler on gas. Don't have to do anything with it except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Next to it we have your plug-in for your water. All you have to do with that is press it in and press down the cap to lock it into place. Not putting water through today as it has been fully drained off. Motor mover I will show in a little while. And moving along here we have your toilet function. So first up, with regards to your toilet function, you have your cassette. To remove this, press up on the orange handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle does also extend out and up and can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Then once you're at your emptying point on site, twist this head to the side, open up the cap like so. You want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. Now my recommendation after you've done that is open up this cap, feed in some fresh water into there, shut it all back up, give it a shake, and again tilt and vent. Then on this cap here you have measurement in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, back onto the cap, twist it in, twist the head to the side and push it in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth. You then up here have your flush tank capacity. This has a capacity of around about 12 litres, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You could also add a bit of pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell nicer. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just up here got a little bung to drain off any remaining water from the tank. The caravan will be fully drained off when you collect it. And lastly, just behind the axle there, you can see those 2 points. Now that is where your wastewater is going to come out of. You're going to need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. Then underneath your left hand side seat you have your trips and fuses, all your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position as well. I'd always recommend carrying some extra fuses across the caravan with you. Then situated underneath your right hand side seat you have your boiler here. Now with regards to this, you have your flow jet, which is what will pull through the water itself, and you have this yellow switch. When it's facing upright, that is in drain mode. When it's horizontal, that allows the flow of water to come through. Now, when you collect the caravan, it will be up in this position. November to March, have that up permanently, unless you're actively using the caravan, and anytime you come off site, have it so it's stuck up in the upright position. And just here we have your toilet flush, so press in the button and you can hear a faint whir. That whir is what will push around any water inside the system. Then to remove your waste, press away on this handle at the bottom, opens up the catch, then pull it back towards you, as otherwise you won't be able to remove the cassette toilet. When the cassette is full, there will be a red light on there telling you to empty. Then we have all your hob grill and oven. So all of this operates on gas. All you have to do, press in, twist to the side, and then press your igniter just here. Now it may be a case that these will light up and then cut out. That is standard. That is the gas just making its way through the system. So this is what it looks like when they're all lit. Then just here you can see all your burners nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. Same concept for your grill. As you can see, both sides nice and lit. And finally, your oven. So let me see if I can do this with one hand. There you can see oven all nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, if you're travelling with your gas bottles, make sure that the bottle themselves are off, and you have to travel with this glass sheet down, as otherwise it's just going to shatter, but don't put it down until all of these burners are nice and cold. And just here we have your fridge operation. So fridge is currently off. You have a couple of different options. You can select this for either gas, mains, or the battery symbol. Now the battery is representative of 13-pin electric whilst towing. So for now, just going to switch it over to mains. Then I have the temperature gauge just at the top here. So the thicker the dots, the more power coming in, the quicker it's going to chill. And as you can see, you have a small little light for the fridge. Now, the only other thing to note is that for mains or 13-pin, you just select the correct one and then it will do precisely that. However, for gas, you flick it over to the side, and what you have to do is continually pump in on this button until this little bar, which you can see just there if my camera would focus, floats over into the green. So you have to do it a few times. This is what it looks like when it's in the bar. So as we can see here, it's a little bit awkward to see in all fairness. Helps when the camera focuses. Please focus. It's hard to see because of the glare, but it is in there. It is at the top. I'll take a photo and I'll show you as well. Oh no, there you can see. So that faint little line shows that it's in. So what you have to do is press in on the dial and continually thump this in, and it will gradually come across. Then with any fridge, it does take around 4 hours to fully chill. What I will show you as well, you can see the bar there. Now, as I switch it to mains, it will slowly begin to drop out. Then, turn it completely off. No more light in the fridge. That shows it's off. Now, when it comes to heating the actual van, there's a few different options. You have a 230 volt water heater just here, which you switch over, and that will heat your water to the correct temperature, which is around about 60 degrees. However, if you're operating on gas, you have the option just here. And just here we have your main control panel. So we have your master on and off switches for everything in the van. Turn that off, turn it back on, and then once this levels, it will tell you the amount of power coming in, which right now is around 13.5. You then have lights, Then you have awning light, so press that in, go to the outside, you can see that's on. And then you have your pump button just here. So what you would do, press this down, you'd come over to your sink, then open up your sink on both hot and cold, and let it run for about 30 seconds. Now what you're after is a nice steady continuous stream. This here is your water pump. Water pump pushes in, then you press down the cap on the outside, and that is then placed in. You have this plastic cap to go over the top of the acroll to ensure no nastiness gets in. Then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now for the strainer, it's crucial that that sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through and stops there from being any potential airlocks. Then when it comes to heating, there's a couple of different options. So first up, for water heat, you have this option here first. Switch it down to 230 volt water heat. That is then using the mains to heat the water. Don't have to do anything apart from that. It will get to about 60 degrees. However, if you're operating on gas, you have the choice of either off, on and get the water to 50, or to 70. Now that does take around about an hour for the temperature to get correct. So this side is for your water heat, and then you have the option of your room heat. So if I wanted to use mains, I'd flick down on this, and then I have a couple of different options. So this dial has 2000 off, 500 and 1000. That is the amount of volts in the van. So 2000, you can see the green light lights up, and then you have 1 to 9. 9 being the most powerful, so it's going to heat it the quickest and to the highest temperature. So that is only for mains. However, if I would like to use gas, I come over to this here. So I have this dial here, which again is representative of temperature, 1 to 10. And then what I have to do is press in on this and continually press in on this button. Then what you'll see is, let's see if I can try and show it on the video. Might have to do it and then show you afterwards. But there will be a flame that lights up that will then heat it on. I know this is on because I'm beginning to sweat. Then I have the fan speed, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. So you can hear it there, that is for fan speed. Now this is a manual switch, whilst this is automatic. So switch it over to auto, and auto will regulate it by itself. However, if it's in the middle, that is then off. So let me see if I can try and get an angle for this. And there you can see the flame is on. A little bit awkward to see there, but that shows it's on. And then when you want this off, spin this round back to 0. No more flame anymore. Now lastly, we have motor mover. So for motor mover, press in on this red switch and twist it to the side. There is a little metal part that lines up on the thicker part to allow it to push through. That is now isolating the power from the battery to the mover itself. Now with your motor mover, this is what is known as a Mark 1 control panel. So to turn this on, using your remote, press in on your 2 green part. What will happen is this will pass across, and then there you can see singular green light. Now with regards to this, you have to flip it upside down, as that point is your A-frame. So when I press in forwards, you can see that the roll goes across. Same with that one, and then you have your side to sides as well. So you can see when I press this one, for instance, this roller doesn't turn, but the other one does. Then when you're engaging this, so you want to engage it before you turn on the actual remote itself, you use this, which is your actuation bar. Actuation bar, if I can show you there, extends out. You put this metal part onto the end, flick it over, you have to use a fair bit of force, and that is then engaged. The motor mover will not work if you are plugged into mains, however.